Hello, hello, listeners. Welcome back to this episode of Claiming Your Success Conversations with Caroline and Sabrina. You're probably going to be like, Caroline's going to say it again. Caroline's going to say it again. There's the free floating heads. And I don't know if you lot can see a little similarity in the other floating head today because it is my sister, Kristy Wilson. And I don't need to do no intro on how we met. We met when I was the one who came out after my mum. So she met me first, you know. Serena, I know you've heard bits and bobs of me and my sister, but even that, this is the first time she's going to be having a conversation with my sister too. So, Christy, that being said, please just introduce yourself, let the listeners know who you are and what you are about, what you've been about. And then Sabrina's definitely going to be firing some questions after that.
Okay. Like Caroline said, my name is Kristy, born and raised in London. I feel about me, I would say my past is full of fun times, good times, painful times, but that has made me who I am in this present moment in time. But then having saying that, I feel like I'm currently always reinventing myself, whether that's with a new hobby, my health, my fitness journey, even people skills. I'm always willing to grow. I'm always motivated to do more. And I just feel, even with a bad situation or a good situation, I always try to tell myself, which can be hard, what is this teaching me? And then I think about that and I think I'm here for a reason. And I just try and learn from every situation life throws at me, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's so
Oh my gosh.
beautiful. And I'm going to hop right in because you said a word. You
Okay.
said a word and it jumped right out at me. You said reinventing, right? And I'm
Yeah.
currently doing a reinvention masterclass that I'm doing with a few ladies that I coach through like their growth journeys. And what does reinvention mean to you, like in your experience of what all the things that you've gone through in the different phases of life, different struggles, painful moments as you alluded to? What does reinvention mean to you?
It means to me always growing, always. Someone said to me, how was my personality 10 years ago? I probably would say it's completely different. I feel like that I understand people a lot more. I think that's with my job that I do because I work in mental health. So I understand everyone's different. Everyone has mental health issues as well. Some people are autistic, ADHD, everyone learns differently. Even just a simple thing, not, I shouldn't say simple, but even just some people learn with drawing, some people have to learn with things written down. So I feel like that's helped me understand everyone is different, to adapt to certain people skills, which I didn't have before. I feel like when I was growing up, it was my household is very much just don't talk your business, but in life, I realized it's good to talk. It's good to be vulnerable. And that's helped me grow and reinvent as a new person. It's not always about being private. In some ways, yes, it's good, but sometimes it's always good to talk about your problems. Let people be there for you. Let people be the shoulder to cry on. That's what reinvention means to me. Yeah.
Such a good answer. Such a good answer. And do you think that growth mindset is what has helped you kind of overcome the struggles that you've experienced in your life?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because I always thought it was just one way. Sometimes when you have a hard upbringing and it's very much, I don't know how to put it, just be on your own. You can always count on yourself. Yes, you can, but you want to fall in love. You want that partner. You want friends. So yeah, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
it does. It makes
It
so much
does.
sense. It makes so much sense. And I think I relate to that so much, like coming from a troubled background and childhood as well, that almost, it's almost like you're taught that you can only count on yourself,
Mm,
and being able to actually function in life
yeah,
and not just be in survival mode, but to actually thrive and bloom and blossom in the ways that we all want to. You can't do it alone. And
no,
I think
yeah,
so many women struggle with that. They struggle with this kind of belief that it's me, myself, and I, and I have to figure it out. Whereas like that's not the case. Where has that shown up for you in your life, where you've had to learn that different lesson?
I think when I met my husband 11 years ago, he really changed my mindset. If there was a situation and I might be like with a friend, I'd be like, oh, why is she being like this? I wonder what that means. He's like, no, you're never going to know what someone means. There's no point even stressing or thinking about it. You just take it how it comes. So he'd be like, she's still your friend. Well, she still loves you. She's still going to be there for you. That's just how she is. So then I started to understand, okay, not to take things negatively. And then I wouldn't talk about certain situations. Even today, I said, I don't know what to talk about. He's like, talk about what you feel to. He's like, no one's going to judge you. Everyone has a history. Everyone has a life. He said, each day you're growing, you're realizing that people are actually there for you. You don't need to hold anything in. You'll just know what to say. So I think he's really helped me because he's the opposite to me. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Isn't that funny? Like, is Tar the same with you, Caroline? Like, you two are opposites, or
Yeah, me and Tara
yeah?
are so opposite. Even when it comes to music, like we don't like the same things. We actually have never been to an actual like gone out to a club or anything like that because we're so opposite. Even when we're
Mm,
watching things, we still
mm,
fight over what we're just opposite. Opposites attract, though,
yeah.
right? And I think that's
Yes,
the balance. That is the balance, you know. And it's
exactly.
that we're not meant to. Now we're talking about partners. We're not meant to. This is like one like this is where it's gonna go. Like people seem to want to change their partner, and and it's not that exactly where Christy's saying. Same with friendships. You have to have the balance. You have to be able to allow that person to be how they are, and that's how you're taking them. That's how you love them. You can't change them. You have to be okay with that. And um like, oh, how can I put it? Like whenever I come in and I'm quite, hot-headed and negative and that and things like that, it's not that I won't fuel it. She's there to listen. I hope I'm making sense now. Sorry, I've
Mm,
just gone off on
mm.
one.
No, absolutely. I think it's so important, though, that we talk about this stuff. Like we talked with Cass last week, we talked about friendships and those kinds of relationships. And to talk about spousal relationships or significant others, I think it's really important because when we're
Mm,
on this journey of growing and expanding and healing and trying to build our success, whatever that looks like to us, of course that's going to affect the people that are closest to
hmm
us. It's going to affect those close relationships. And having a partner that you feel safe with, and not safe in a physical sense. I hope, for the love of God, if you don't feel safe physically with your partner, like we X out of that situation real fast, right? But emotionally, you should feel
hmm
emotionally safe and safe to share your dreams and share your struggles. And like Chrissy said about, sharing the vulnerability of, I don't know what to talk about today. And then the great advice he gave her, being able to share those moments. I think it's so important in your close, like romantic relationships.
Mm.
It is. It so is. Um,
Are we here?
we're
I thought
here.
everyone
We're here.
froze for a second. I think
So
we're
did
all
I,
just
because I
so
know it
so
went a little bit.
contemplative. I think we're all
What?
just contemplating that point. What were you going to say, Kaza?
No, all I was gonna say is that TMI, time of the month, right? So I am like quite emotional. So I know the emotions was coming out a little bit there. So that's all I was gonna say there. Then, yeah. What else?
So, Chrissy, tell me more about like the growth journey that you've been on and what has brought you to where you are now with the version of yourself that exists today, doing the things that you're doing, pursuing the things that you're pursuing. What has led to that?
Well, I think I don't want to go too far back. I
Go as
think
far back as you want.
Yeah.
I think lockdown, I was
Mm.
furloughed, so um, just at home, which was good. You don't have to work, but you still get paid. But then it just dragged out for a long time, and I started to get unhealthy. I started putting on weight, and then I was like to Caroline, "Oh, I think I should do pole dancing, pole fitness." She goes, "Oh yeah, here's a place. We'll do it together." And then I was waiting for Caroline to start, and she never did. So I thought to
I
myself,
was like,
if I don't go, I just need to go on my own. So I just took that leap of faith and thought I'm just going to go on my own. So I went, And I loved it so much. I really did. And then my husband, as he is supportive, he bought me a pole for my house. So that's still up to this
Amazing.
day.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so I
gosh,
could
that's
practice
amazing.
at home. He was so encouraging. And then even just, I thought I'm going to teach myself, go lessons where I can. Because then we went back into lockdown. So I was so happy I had the pole. And I was always motivated just to be better, always learning, want to learn, want to do the next new trick. And then afterwards, I'm thinking, okay, so what's this teaching me? Let me go and get my qualifications. So I did my qualifications, and then I was teaching at one studio. I did one class, and then I thought, you know what, I could do this myself. So my amazing husband, he got a studio for me. He decorated it, got some decorate, made it so beautiful, so nice. And then I was teaching students, had my own website. I would work full time, then go and teach. It was only down the road from my house. And even that situation, I felt it was teaching me how to have better people skills, how to be more open, more sociable, even just running a business, which I've never done before. Um, and then I got strong as well, so it was really good. And along the way, I found out that I had fibroids, which is never not really spoken about. It wasn't known in my family, but I had them really bad. I then had to close down my studio. I had my surgery in March for my fibroids, and
This March
I
just
didn't even
passed.
say, hmm? Sorry,
This March just
yeah,
passed.
this March has gone by,
Wow.
yeah. And then they told me once they finished I had a myomectomy, and then they said they removed 52 fibroids. The surgery
Gosh.
was, yeah, 52 large ones, um, ranging from different sizes, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters, massive clusters. I had to have the surgery done quite quickly because it started affecting my kidneys. So I was nearly at kidney disease, so they had to take them out. But all this time, I never let my fibroids stop me. The pain I was going through, I just wanted to keep teaching. I wanted to keep working. So I just kept going. And then I had the surgery. And then I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to start to get better, but I wasn't getting better. Um, I said to the doctors, I'm in pain. I couldn't move. They didn't care. My husband was advocating for me so much as well, but it just was so hard. And then he even said to one gynae, she needs a CT, she needs a CT scan. And he was like, no, she's just constipated. I've been a gynae for 30 years. She's fine. I was in so much pain. And then they even discharged me after a week. I went home. I was at home. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I'm so don't want people to see me cry. So I waited for my husband to go to the shop, and I just was just crying so much. And then I phoned 111 and I told them what happened. They said, you sound like you got obstruction. Go back to the hospital. So then my husband came home and said, I need to go to hospital. So I went back, and then they did the CT scan and was like, oh, it's good you came back. You've got an obstruction. So I didn't even know what yeah, I know. I didn't even know what that meant. They were like, oh, you're going to have a tube put in your nose. I was like, okay. And it was the most horrible experience I've ever felt, of just a tube going in. I couldn't eat anything. I wasn't allowed to eat, so no food. I lost all my weight. And then even then they said you won't survive another operation. They said to me, if we done the surgery before when you just had a myomectomy, it would have been better. My husband was like, but I did say that. You should have just gave her a CT and known already. And then they said your only other option is stay on. I had to go on a feeding machine. So
Mm.
there's like, oh, you can stay on this feeding machine for at least 4 weeks and see what happens. And by that point, I just thought, I'm never going to make it. And then I was saying to my husband, I cannot believe, I said to him, Joe, what have I done so bad for me to be going through this right now? And then part of me thought, I wonder what's going to happen to me. I need to get strong. My body is not giving up. After everything it's going through, it's just not giving up. It's not saying no. I tried to walk as much as I could, and it just wasn't happening. And I couldn't even sleep. I'm just connected to machines. And each day, I'm just alive. Eventually, they said, okay, we're going to do the emergency surgery. They done the major surgery. I was in ICU, so I was there for a while. Then eventually I went back up to the ward, and I was like, my body is so strong. I knew that I could just get through this. And I was just amazed that my body just not give up. Even in my mind, I was thinking, this is it. And they're telling me I'm not going to survive operation. But I did. Even that situation, I didn't let it bring me down. I made sure, and I feel like because I done pole, that really set up my core to get me strong again. If I didn't do pole, my core wouldn't even be strong. So I don't even know what would happen to my stomach because I ended up getting cut across and up. So then that surgery happened, I got better. And then it's just slowly recovering with my food intake, with the bowel surgery. And then, yeah, I'm just so into my fitness. So I do my running, I go gym, I still do pole, I do Pilates. I just keep going. I just think to myself, this is giving me a second chance.
Interrupt you, but my mind was just like going crazy thinking, how do you go through all of that? And like seeing Caroline's emotion of how, like, I can't even imagine that period of your life for you and for your family. But how do you go through something like that and come out the other side still so, like, I don't know even how to put it, just so in tune with your strength and your ability and your, like, the drive that you have to make your life great? Like, a lot of people would use that as kind of like a not an excuse. I don't want to be callous in saying that, because, like, hello, justified, but use that as a reason to just be like, do you know what I mean? Like, how do you go through that and come out the other side so strong?
I think part of it is my dad raised me to be strong, to be very dependent on myself, a strong person. I feel he plays a part in that, and just to be motivated. Then I got my husband, who I can't even imagine what he went through seeing me like that, like a very strong, independent woman to then just so broken, which is not me at all. I've always been a strong person, so I feel like that is the weakest I've ever been in my life. And then coming out of it, I just thought I don't ever want to go back there. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to be in that place. And because I say to myself, I don't want to be in that place again, I'm going to do what I can. Obviously, fibroids just grow. They don't really know. They don't do research on women. It's not really educated in my family. Even most of this in the UK, it's not spoke about. Even when I went to my GP and I just said to her my symptoms of, I have a heavy period, she said, it's fine. She just brushed it off. It's only because I went, after a while, I thought, this isn't right. Let me go and pay for my own scan. So I paid for a scan, and she said, oh, you got loads of fibroids. So then I took it back to my GP, and then the referral process started going, but I didn't know how it was so bad. And I just thought, and they say they do blame a diet, but they're not 100% true. They don't know. So I try to eat healthy. I don't want them to ever grow again, but they can. But if I can prevent it, then I will. So that also is in my mind. And I think at the same time, I'm still quite scared to be in that situation. So that makes me strong as well. And also just to be there for my family. So that gives me the drive also, because you just have to be, my dad's always, because I'm the second oldest, I had to be strong. I had to look out. I'm the one, my older brother and me, looking after Caroline and my younger brother. So it's in me, if that makes sense. I don't know. So part of it's my dad, and then so just me.
I think it's so, like, I just commend you so much for going through all of that and coming out the other side in the way that you have, and just acknowledge you for advocating for yourself in the way that you had to. I think especially in healthcare, women don't do that enough, in like checking themselves out, breast scanning and things like that, but then taking notice of things that don't feel right, or trusting your intuition that something isn't quite right, and really advocating for yourself. But then the thing that stuck out to me too was you were able to, like, your body was in a really good place, like you said about your core being strong and all of that because of what you've done previously. And it was through lockdown, right? Something
Yeah.
that was really destructive for society, that you were able to like pour into that strength that then served you later on in a way that you could never have
Mm.
imagined, right?
Yeah.
So I think, like, just to draw on that point, like the things that we do for ourselves today, we don't know the
Mm.
effect they're going to have down the line. And
Yeah.
it's that ability to show up for yourself today, trusting that the effort that you're putting in, the energy that you're putting in, those investments that you're making now are going to amount to something that you may not even be able to see in the future.
Mm.
Yeah. I agree with that as well. And then that's why now I just try to eat so like hardly any processed food. Um, just to try to keep a nice, healthy life, because the surgeon said my bowel was so healthy. Because when I was doing pole and after lockdown, I did have a better diet, and they said that your bowels, but you didn't lose any bowels. Like, it's so healthy. It's just they stuck it when they put my womb back. They stuck my womb to my bowel, and then it got inflamed, and then it kinked, and then it twisted. So it's just a whole build up of
My whole uterus and intestine area just went "Nyeh." When you said
yeah,
that. I was like, oh, that sounds terrible.
yeah. The pain was just. I said, why has I got these contraction pains? They're like, oh no, it's just constipated. I was like, no, it's not. But they just don't believe you. Yeah, it's just, yeah. And I just thought I'd never want to deal with that again. So it really drives me to be a better person. So now at this moment in time, I'm just really concentrating on myself, my health, my fitness, getting better, healing. Um, and then I found out, you know, because I'm always constantly trying to think, what else is there that can help me? And then I found out there's like scar massaging. So to help you with the tissue inside or your how you're healing. So I'm going to book an appointment and see how that goes. So I'm always trying to see what can I do just to make it easier for my body, better. Because I got loads of scar tissues. I'm still healing. I still have to go for an MRI next week just to make sure everything's okay. So it's still like a at the minute never ending, but I'm happy I'm on the
Process.
right path.
I just what you were saying there, it reminded me of a quote that I heard this morning when I was on my walk. I was listening to a podcast and I had to pull it up because I butcher things if it's not right in front of me. But it was Dr. Thema, and she's incredible. But she said, if you didn't tell me how you feel about yourself, what would your care of yourself tell me about how you feel about yourself? And everything that you've just said about your intentionality and your focus and your commitment to taking care of yourself, what that tells me is that you really love yourself. You really
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
very compassionate towards yourself. You're very accepting and like you have a lot of care and love for Kristy.
Mm.
And talk to me a little bit, or us, I should say. I feel like I'm in a single, I'm like Kristy, it's just me and you. But talk to us about what it's taken for you to get there. Because I'm assuming, coming from the background that you came, because this is my story too, that that wasn't necessarily how you started with true compassionate love for yourself. Maybe you were taught different things about your worth or your value or whatever. How did you get to this place where you have such reverence? I would say it feels like you have reverence for yourself now.
Mm. Um, I feel like, well, when I always wanted to be a gymnast when I was younger. My dad always said I'm too fat. And then when I go
That's
to be a gymnast, and then as well I go to school and I got called fat, Mrs. Blobby and whatever. So I never did love myself. I didn't. I just thought I'm just a fat, ugly person. Um, and then eventually I got older. I started to look different. I lost a bit of weight. And then I don't know, I just thought I need to, if I, for me to love other people and just to be happy in life, I need to love myself and grow. So I just concentrated on my work. I used to work like 3 jobs. So I really thought I'm just gonna work, 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 make my money, have a good time, love myself, and then go out with friends, have a good time. And it's what I did. And it's only probably when I got into my 20s, then I thought, okay, I'm ready to meet someone. And I did, which was my husband. And I said to myself as well, if I'm going to meet someone, and I'm going to be with someone, it's not just going to be anyone. It has to be someone who's going to be there for me, who's the completely opposite, and just going to love me for who I am. Because I knew I knew my self-worth by then. Whereas before I didn't. I would say I was in horrible relationships. I've had someone hit me, um, and I knew that's not what I wanted. So I had to, yeah, find my worth, what was for me. Because it's easy as women to do that. We think that we're not worth anything, and we should accept that and be told, okay, but that person still cares about us. But that's not caring for someone at all. So I knew my self-worth, and I knew I just looked good, and I love me. I learned to love me for who I am. My mum will tell me my mum always tells us, my beautiful children, my beautiful. So I believe that. Well, do you know what? I am, and I say I am beautiful. She said it the other day. I don't remember, Caroline. And I said, yeah, I am beautiful. I agree with that. So I tell myself that a lot. Um, Not to be big-headed, but you have to be very confident in your own skin. You have to love yourself, because sometimes you're not going to get it elsewhere. And I know the world is different now to how I lived it before. Um, with Instagram, TikTok, if you care about the likes, you'll always be unhappy. You just have to know a like means nothing, because when I grew up, you couldn't put pictures outside. If my friend went on holiday, she's got a throwaway camera, she's gone on holiday, come back, put it in her album, come to school for show and tell, and then you say, I like that. I don't say, okay, let me press the heart. That's not what happens.
Put a sticker on it.
Yeah, that's not what happens.
Man, isn't that the truth? Gosh, isn't that the truth? That takes me back to all those days at Snappy Snaps, getting
Yeah.
my holiday picture.
Oh my gosh.
Even when I had
Oh.
my wedding, and then we had a Polaroid. So you take a Polaroid, you write a message. The kids were so amazed. They thought it was the best thing ever, a Polaroid. And I remember when I was young, I always wanted a Polaroid. I thought that was so cool. But yeah, and I had it at the wedding, and the kids loved it.
The
But
world
I
is
mean,
different.
it
It's
makes
so
us feel old,
different.
but yeah, they love it, and I feel like that's what's missing. So yeah, I don't concentrate on likes or followers, but I just know, love me, I like me, and yeah, it's just I don't care what people really think. I just, if they people judge me, I just feel like they're upset. That's how I feel.
Themselves.
Yeah,
Gosh,
People hurt
I feel
people.
emotional listening to that. Yeah, I get emotional listening to that, because I think that's something that I've pursued for a really long time. That's something that I see the women that I work with in pursuit of as well, is that just that sense of self-acceptance and
mm,
self-love, and true self-love, not like, oh, I love myself, and then oh, there you are over there like berating yourself and comparing yourself on
yeah,
social media and eating shit and talking to yourself like crap. Like, but actual true self, like just that sense of self that just feels really good to you.
mm,
um I get emotional really seeing somebody who's embraced that fully, and hearing your story of what it's taking you to get there. Like, I hope it doesn't take all of us that something as traumatic as that to get
mm,
there, but just knowing that it's possible, and hearing from you in the beautiful ways that you put it. I just thank you. Thank you for
thank you. I hope
sharing
it makes
that
sense.
nugget of hope. It's hope. That's what
Yeah,
I got out of this conversation, Kristy. Just a ton
thank
of
you.
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it makes like raise awareness as well for women with fibroids and gynaes, and just don't give up. Advocate for yourself,
Mm.
fight, know your worth, and just keep going. Yeah, and learn from your situation, good or bad. It's preparing us, and it's for a reason. And you always come out stronger.
So beautifully said.
Mm.
Oh man, Caroline, what are you thinking?
So that is just the perfect way for the episode to end, honestly. Nothing more to share, to be honest. Chrissy, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. I really was hoping that was what you was going to share. I do feel more awareness needs to be spread around it. You're so strong, inspiring, empowering. You've just been through a lot, you know, especially this year. So thank you so much for sharing that for everyone. Because
Okay. Thanks for
it
having me.
is upsetting, you know, because so many women do go through a lot. They do what you say, Sabrina, you know, they then don't want to work on it, don't want to fix themselves and think it's going to get better and it doesn't. And it's a shame that people have to go through some things, even that could be you went through it because you're now going to be the inspiration for the women who have fibroids, and you're the one who's going to use your voice to stand up strong and be that pedestal, that light. That's what I truly believe, you know, Sabrina, for Chrissy. I really do.
Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Kristy. Thank you, Caroline. Such an important, beautiful conversation that I know our listeners are going to get a ton out of. Yeah, another good one. Thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
You too.